I had an idea, so I'm going to read this page and then get to it. I did not write this, just reading it. How to integrate PayPal in Node.js apps. Part 1, Introduction and App Setup. Okay, introduction. PayPal has become a widely accepted and trusted platform when it comes to accepting payments in modern web apps and mobile apps. PayPal offers many solutions to the problem of accepting online payments. One of their products is the PayPal REST SDK, which allows developers to easily start accepting payments on their web apps. In this tutorial, we're going to explore PayPal REST SDK, and we'll be using Node.js technology for our backend code. This tutorial is divided into two parts. Part 1, Introduction and App Setup. Part 2, Node.js app. Objective. After completing this tutorial, learners should be able to create developer account on PayPal, create app on PayPal developer account, and note client ID and secret, understand the complete payment flow and process, write the backend code needed to work in coordination with PayPal APIs, write complex Node.js apps which are capable of accepting payments via PayPal. Prerequisites. After completing this tutorial, learners should be able to 1. PayPal account, create here, 2. Node.js and NPM, 3. Express.js. Our approach. This tutorial is logically partitioned into two parts. In first part, we learn about creating and setting up our app on PayPal in order to accept payments, and in the second part, we'll write our web app in Node.js and integrate it using PayPal REST SDK available to be installed using NPM. We've a lot to get done. Let's get started. 1. Creating PayPal account. Step 1.1, go to this link, developers.paypal.com, and start creating your account. Okay. Step 1.2, if you already have an account, you can simply log in and jump to step 1.1. Otherwise, just click on the sign up button and create your account. Step 1.3, select your account type. We have individual account and business account. Step 1.4, enter your details and click continue. Sign up for free, individual account. Okay, so just a screenshot here. Step 1.5, you will have to add some more information before your account is created. Step 1.6, link your card with your account. You can skip this step and link later also. Step 1.7, congratulations, you successfully created your PayPal account. Note that you may have to verify your email before you can get started creating your apps. Step 1.8, go to PayPal developer's URL to start creating your app. Step 1.9, go to the dashboard. Step 10, or 1.10, your dashboard will look something like this. Search for Create Application App under the REST API section. Step 1.11, click on the Create App button. Okay. Step 1.12, give the name to your app and click on Create App. Step 1.13, note down your client ID and client secret for future reference. Okay. Step 1.14, create a sandbox account for testing the integration. It will be useful when we test our finished app. You can create it by clicking on the account button as shown below. Step 1.15, you can either create a new account or else you can also use the accounts created by default. Step 1.16, you can simply click on your account to view details of the account as shown below. In the same way, you can check funding and settings also. Okay. Sequence diagram. This diagram explains the payment flow. User clicks on the Pay Now button, after which the Node.js app redirects the user to PayPal. PayPal server will accept the payment and redirects the user back to the Node.js app along with the payment status. Here is the sequence diagram. Okay, so we have a diagram here. We got browser, Node.js app, PayPal. Click on Pay Now. Call payment endpoint, Node.js app. Redirects to PayPal for payments. PayPal redirects back to Node.js app after payment with status. And we're in Node.js. Present the view with status. Status page appears on the user agent. So the redirect kind of seems kind of weird from this diagram because I'm kind of assuming that your Node.js app is just calling a PayPal REST service And so your Node.js app is just waiting for PayPal to get back to it before Node.js can get back to the browser. So the browser calls Node.js, Node.js calls PayPal. PayPal will return information to Node.js app, and when the Node.js app has the stuff from PayPal, then it will return to the browser. I don't really think that there's this thing where it says redirect to PayPal for payment. I don't think that language is correct, but maybe I just don't know because, I've never done this before, and therefore maybe they're totally right. But redirect sounds really weird. A redirect is usually something you're doing in the browser, not something you would be doing on the server side in your Node.js app. And Node.js is server side. What's next? In this part of the tutorial, we learn how to create a PayPal account, adding a new app on PayPal developer dashboard, noted down the credentials of our app. In the next part, we'll create our Node.js app and integrate the same with the PayPal app we created. By the end of the next part, let me move this up. We'll have a complete app ready to accept PayPal payments written in Node.js. So there's a next button here, so I'm going to click that next button and just see what we have here. And I'm not going to try to memorize any of this code. I think that as long as I read through this, I'll get a general idea of what the code needs to be, and then I'll just write my own. Because I probably don't want to use express.js. I probably just want to write it in a much simpler with just plain node.js and just write my server code from scratch, just to keep things simple. How to integrate PayPal in Node.js apps, part 2, Node.js app. Okay, so let's see. We got part 1, introduction and app setup, part 2, Node.js app. This is the second part of how to integrate PayPal in Node.js apps. In the first part, we learned to create an account, and we also created a REST API based on PayPal. In this part of the tutorial, we'll create our Node.js app and add functionality to accept payments by using PayPal REST SDK along with the credentials from the app that we created. So also, I don't think I need an NPM library for PayPal. I'm pretty sure I can just look up what the rules of the REST API are and just call the REST API. So I don't think I need Express, and I don't think I need this REST API library either. So those are two things that I just want to throw out and make my code a little bit simpler. Because I can just do the XML HTTP requests on my own. I don't need a library to tell me how to do that. Node.js project structure. The directory structure of our Node.js app should look like the following. In the following sections, we'll explore each of the files mentioned below one by one. Okay, so we got node modules, we got public, we got app.css, app.js, cover.png, error.html, index.html, success.html, that's in the public folder. We got package.json, and we got server.js. So this is the public folder, I believe, is just the way Express works, and so it's going to publicly expose all of those files, and you'll be able to just route to them without setting up any routing logic. I believe you can just do your app/public/app.css to get to it. I'm pretty sure that's how Express works. Package.json. Package.json is our package file. It lists all the dependencies for our app along with other project metadata. The content of your package.json file should look similar to this. Okay, so we got opening up the JSON object, and we have name, PayPal integration using Node.js version 1.0.0 description, main server.js, scripts, test, echo, error, no, test specified, and exit. So that looks like some bash code. Keywords, PayPal, payment gateway, Node.js integration in web apps. Okay. Author, license, dependencies. So dependencies, we've got Express and we got PayPal REST SDK. So if you're following along with this, so we could totally strip this down. So on a Heroku server, well, at least on a Heroku server, if you want to set up a Node.js app, all you need is server.js. You don't have to specify that it's main. So this is a very bulky package.json. I would just, if I was trying to understand what the hell was going on and get rid of extraneous things, I would just keep this. keep that, and I would also get rid of the this semvar versioning and just keep an exact version, because we have version control. The version control can keep a snapshot of the entire project and know what version we were using at a certain point in time. I think that this just adds a little bit more complexity that we don't need. So I would just take this whole thing, get rid of the semvar versioning. I'd also would put my package.lock file. I'd put that in git ignore, because I don't care. It's in version control. Don't add version control to my version control, because that's basically what package.lock is. So anyways, taking a look at that, yeah, I mean, that's it's sensible, but there's just way too much noise in this file. Dependencies is all you need in here. And if you're going to follow along, you'll need Express, you'll need the PayPal REST SDK. Okay, install packages. We can install all the dependencies by using the single command npm install. It will automatically install all the packages required by our application, npm install. Okay, so they're probably going to be doing this locally. They're going to do a local run as well as a deployment, or I don't know if they're going to do a deployment as well, but npm install, usually that's if you're going to be doing some local testing, if you're doing the npm install on your machine rather than on the server. A server.js file. This is the file where we initialize our Node.js app and write all the logic for our program. Read through the code along with the informative comments before you move on to the next section. Okay, so let's look at this. Import the required packages. Var express require express. Path require path. App equals express. PayPal equals require PayPal REST SDK. So that naming convention is all right. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's a pretty standard naming convention. Okay, configure PayPal with credentials you got when you created your PayPal. Is this going off the screen here? This is why we have column limits, people. I'm sure it's probably an 80 column limit thing, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just weird. I like to read stuff on a vertical monitor. I also like to code on a vertical monitor. I'm the minority here. Okay, so let's rearrange this really quick. Let's put this down here. I'm gonna have to move things. Is it still off screen? No. Okay, so if I move that down there, I'm gonna change what screen we're looking at. I'm gonna look at the bottom monitor really quick. Well, now you can't. Now we're not as zoomed in, but we can see all the code. So okay. So the imports look okay. Configure PayPal with credentials you got when you created your PayPal app. PayPal.configure. Mode sandbox. Sandbox are live. Client ID. Your client ID here. Client secret. Your client secret here. So I'd have to look at the. Yeah, I mean, maybe the API is a good thing. I'll have to look into how hard it is just to do this without using the library and just using calls to their API, because maybe it's really hard, and maybe the library makes it significantly easier. But if the library doesn't make it significantly easier, I'd rather just do it without, just so I know all the details. Git public directory to serve static HTML files, app.use / express.static, path.join, dir name, and public. Okay. So I think what it's doing there is path.join, so it's joining whatever the directory we're currently in with the public folder. Because we don't know where this is going to be deployed, and we're trying to resolve. We're trying to resolve to some type of absolute path / public, and when we just do a / some file name, it's going to route to that public folder. So I would probably rather have that be / public. Just because when you have aliases for file paths, and the file path on in your URL doesn't quite match the file path on the server, things can get kind of hard to trace down when you haven't been in the project for a while. Redirect to the store when user hits http://localhost:3000 app.get/ request and response, and then a function response.redirect / index.html. Okay, so that's going to redirect to the public folder's index.html if we're at the site root, is what that's saying. Okay. Start payment process. So we got app.get and /buy. So if we're at the site root /buy, we're going to do the following procedure. And the procedure takes a request and response. So there's a server request and a server response. Create payment object, var payment, intent, authorize, payer, payment method, PayPal, redirect URLs, return URL, cancel URL, transactions. Okay, so it's an array, amount with total in currency, and a description. Okay, and transactions is an array of objects. Is it? Yeah, transactions is an array of objects, but it's kind of been written as, the notation right now is written so when you look in transactions, there's only one object in there. It's, okay, sure, why not? Okay, that's fine. Call the create pay method, create pay, payment, dot then, so we got a promise. So create pay, where's create pay here? Is that this thing? No, it's a down. Okay, create pay. I like to order things in a whatever. I like to do things in a kind of a no forward declarations C kind of order. So since create pay was being called by other things, create pay should be on further towards the top of the file. But anyways, helper functions, create pay. So it takes a payment parameter and then return new promise with a resolve and a reject. So it's just returning a promise. PayPal.payment.create with payment, the payment object, and a function air and then payment. So very similar style to the file system library, the FS library in Node.js. If error, reject error, else resolve payment. Okay, so that's seems pretty easy to use. So let's go back up to where that was used. So this is inside of app.get, so the buy. We're going to, so we create some payloads up here, create payment object. Then down here, create pay, payment, dot then, transaction. So we get a transaction object back. So we put the payment object into the create pay function and it returns a promise. And if that promise is successful, it's going to return a transaction object. So ID, transaction.id, links, transaction.links, var counter, links.length. So these three variables are just there to make things more shorthand, to make things terser. I'm fine with that. I do that a lot. Sometimes I don't because it adds a little bit more mental indirection, but since the names are pretty much the same except for counter, it's not really that much extra mental indirection. While counter minus minus. So that's a very C style way to count. Count number of times that links.length, right? So that's like a we're also going to be going through it backwards, and I don't know if you do this C kind of style loop, you're going to have to go through things backwards. Is there a reason that we're going through things backwards? Links counter dot method equals redirect. So if it equals a redirect to PayPal where user approves the transaction, return response dot redirect links counter dot href. So I do not know why they're going through the links backwards. So for some reason, the only thing I can think of is, for whatever reason, the last link has some type of highest priority. Unless there's only one redirect link, and then otherwise we could just go through it forward or backwards. This is where a comment would really help, right? Yes, we understand what the code does, but why is it doing this? I don't quite know. Okay, catch error, console.log error, response.redirect, and then we're going to redirect to error page. Okay, success page, app.get success, request response, console.log, request.query, response.redirect, /success.html. Okay, error page. Just wiring up the error page to the error.html. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. And also response request.query. So I guess we want to log what query led us to the error page, maybe. Okay, app.listen 3000 port. Okay, so we're going to listen on port 3000. Console.log app.listening on 3000. So this is hard-coded to be local, as far as I'm concerned, because if you deploy on Heroku, you don't know what that port number is going to be, so you have to get it through an environment variable. Okay. Helper functions. Create payment, okay. And with the payment parameter, oh yeah, we already looked at this. That's why I feel like I've already been here. Yeah, so this just takes the payment object and returns a promise, and if everything went all right, that promise that is returned, I believe is a transaction. So that's kind of weird that create pay here, it says resolve and it says payment. But if we look at create pay, it names it something else over here, doesn't it? Create pay payment, then transaction. Yeah, so we have, I don't like renaming variables like that, because then you can't see the connection between the data flow. So I don't know if this is a different object, but it kind of sounds like it's the same object. Payment. So possibly this is not supposed to be payment, but it's supposed to be called, transaction. So possibly this is supposed to be called transaction, and this is supposed to be called transaction here. I don't know enough about the API to know if that is correct or not, but there is something weird about the variable names there. There's a little bit of a lack of consistency, but I get the general idea. Okay, front end, index.html. Note that index.html is the file where users can see the single product on our store, which is a book, and the user can click on buy to start the payment process. Also, the click event hits the Node.js API we create above, and when the endpoint is hit, the payment creation and approval process with PayPal starts as defined by the code above. Just copy the following code in your index.html file. Okay. So we have some HTML, and I hate writing HTML because it's so ugly, and like, look at this. It's just woo way off the screen. Your column is completely destroyed. I would write this in jQuery, because there's so much extra noise in this HTML. You could write it in jQuery, and then everything's in JavaScript, right? Your front end's in JavaScript, your back end's in JavaScript, your HTML, that's in JavaScript, everything's in JavaScript, and it's awesome. I would just write this page in jQuery. You know what? I don't even care what this is. I just know that somewhere in here there's probably like a button or something that's gonna invoke a function, right? So we got like a buy now in this href, and it goes to buy, right? And this is and on that page we have some code associated with it that's going to perform some transactions. Oh, so that's what they're talking about with the redirect. So so the server actually is going to do a redirect. So I was wrong earlier about being confused about why that diagram had a redirect. So let's go look up buy again. So with buy, we have a request and a response. We have some redirect URLs. Return, cancel. Okay, so if the transaction goes all right, it's response.redirect. Okay, yeah, so we can redirect from the server, and that's how they're going to make like a URL perform logic, right? The URL can perform logic by redirecting you. Okay. I actually don't want to redirect anyone. I think I can probably pull this off with like a single page application without needing to redirect. But I see how they're doing it. Okay, so that makes sense. Let's go down to error.html. In case we received an error status from PayPal approval process, we can redirect the user to this page indicating that there was some error. You have to copy the following code into your error.html file in the public directory. Div, class row, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. What I do care about, like, all this stuff, I hate HTML, and I only care about the functionality anyways, right? So just do yourself a favor, learn what to ignore. Ignore all that stuff. The only thing we need to do is find that button and figure out what it's doing, right? Button, class, button, blah, 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 some bootstrap styles there. Okay, so it's a button, and its href is just a /. So that would just be the site root. Okay, yeah. So it's just gonna read. Okay, so this is just a error has occurred page. That's why I don't see any logic here except for this button, and it's back to home. Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. There's really not much logic on this error.html page, right? Because it's just all this crap is just to display a message, and a little bit much. This is definitely not your minimal example of how to do this, but I get why it's a minimal example for people who care about presentation, I think, is what we're looking at. So this code I'm reading through, it's a fairly lightweight example, but it's also built for people who kind of care about, well, we want it working, but we also want it working and looking nice. That's kind of what I'm kind of seeing from what we've been reading so far. Okay. Success.html, when the payment process, the successful, I think that's just written incorrectly, when the payment process, yeah, so I think this should be is. When the payment process is successful, we redirect the user to the page indicating that the payment has been done successfully. Just copy the code and paste it into the file success.html inside the public directory. Okay, so success.html. Once again, let's just see what we can ignore. So here's the information we're kind of giving to the user. And then we have a button, and that's just back to home once again, just going to the site root. So nothing really fancy there. There's a lot of noise, but just remember what really you need to pay attention to here. Okay, running the app. So they are running this locally, node server.js. This will start your app on localhost 3000. Just point your browser to this address and you're done. Adding CSS and image assets. Note that we've omitted CSS and image files just here to keep things simple. You may need these files when running the code. You can download them from our GitHub repo. Making your first test payment, go to your browser. Click on the Pay Now button. You'll be redirected to PayPal for approval, and there you can use the test account you created in last part to make the dummy payment, and upcon successful payment. I don't know what that means, and upcon. You'll be redirected to the Node.js app with successful status. Okay, snapshots. Snapshot of the working app. Okay, I mean, that does look nice. So I'll say, like, even though I hate HTML and I just wanted to get something working, I do get why, you know, they put a little bit of effort into making this small application look nice, just because, right, that, I think people, when they're trying to do something, they want to see what the final product looks like, So I totally get why they put all that extra stuff in there. Snapshot 2. Okay. Snapshot 3. Snapshot 4. Congratulations. So, I'm going to try to do it the way they're doing it. But I'm not going to use express.js. And I may or may not use that library of theirs. It'll depend on what I read from the API. Okay, summary. Congratulations. We finally accomplished the task of integrating PayPal payments into our web apps using Node.js. Just to summarize, following the steps we took, including part 1 and part 2 of this tutorial, creating a PayPal account, setting up the REST app in dev account, and noted down credentials, creating test accounts, creating Node.js app, made our first test payment. Hope you enjoyed learning how we can integrate PayPal into our Node.js apps, and we also hope you consider adding PayPal as payment option in your next web app project. So that's pretty informative, and I think I have I know enough from what they did here to where I could probably do that. So I might flip back to this for reference maybe. Yeah, that was how to integrate PayPal into Node.js apps, and I'm done reading that, so I'm going to stop.